Here we have a problem on quadratic equation. Okay, let me go over the question. The hypotenuse of a right angle triangle is 20 centimeter. The difference between its other two sides be 4 centimeter. Find the lengths of the sides. Okay, first let me draw a right angle triangle. Here I have drawn a right angle triangle. Okay, so the question says hypotenuse of a right angle triangle is 20 centimeter. AC represents the hypotenuse because that's opposite to the right angle over here. So its length is 20 centimeter. And there is an information, the difference between its other two sides be 4 centimeter. That is the difference between the lengths of the two sides AB and BC is 4 centimeter. For example, if I assume the length of the side BC as 7 centimeter, then what can be the length of AB? It can be 11 centimeter or it can also be written as 3 centimeter. For example, if I write the length of AB as 3 centimeter and I find the difference between the lengths of the sides BC and AB, that is between 7 and 3 is we get 4 centimeter. Instead of 3, if I write 11 centimeter as a length of AB, the difference between 11 and this 7 is still we are getting 4. So if I know the length of one of these two sides, then to get the length of the other side, the AB, what I have to do is either I have to add 4 to this one or I have to subtract 4 from this one. But I do not know what is the length of BC. Just for an example, I took 7 centimeter. Okay, let me assume X as the length of BC. Then what must be the length of AB? So the length of AB has to be either X positive 4 or X negative 4. So if I take X positive 4 or X negative 4, then the difference between the length of this side AB and the BC will be 4. Okay, let me take the length of AB as X positive 4 and already we know the length of the hypotenuse. Now we know all the three sides of this right triangle. Now we can use Pythagorean theorem over here. That is sum of the squares of two legs of a right triangle always equals to the square of the hypotenuse. So now let me square the two legs BC and AB and add them. So that is X square positive, X positive for the whole square, that is equal to 20 square. Okay, here we have X square. Now we can expand the square of the binomial over here. For that we can use the algebraic identity, that is A positive be the whole square, which is equal to A square positive 2AB positive B square. So this is an algebraic identity. To get expansion of a square of a binomial in this form, there is a positive sign between the two terms A and B. Now to get the expansion of this one, we have to compare this and this. So we get X at the place of A, B at the place of 4. Now to get the expansion, we have to use a trinomial. So at the place of A, over here we have to write X, and for B we have to write 4. Okay, let me plug in the stuff. Then I'm getting X square positive 2 times X times 4 positive B square. B square means it's 4 square. On the right side, the value of 20 square is 400. So when I combine this X square and X square, I'm getting 2X square. Then when I multiply 2 times X times 4, I'm getting positive 8X positive. 4 square is 16 equals to 400. Let me do it. Okay, now let me subtract 400 from both sides. When I subtract 400 from both sides, let me do it. So this positive 400, negative 400 will cancel. Then I'm getting 2X square positive 8x. When I combine this positive 16 and negative 400, I'm getting negative 384 equals to 0. Okay, when I look at the coefficient of x square, coefficient of x, and the constant term, everything is a multiple of 2. So but we can divide each term of this quadratic equation by 2 to make the number smaller. If the numbers become smaller, it will be easier for us to solve the quadratic equation. Let me do it. Here 2 will cancel out, and 2 goes into 2 1 times, 2 goes into 8 4 times. So here when I divide this 384 by 2, I'm getting 192. Let me write the stuff out here. X square positive 4x negative 192. Here on the right side, when I divide 0 by 2, it's still 0. Okay, now usually when we solve the quadratic equation, we'll be getting two values for the variable x. Okay, I think we can try to solve this quadratic equation by factoring. For that, we have to multiply the constant term negative 192 by the coefficient of x square. In this case, it's just 1. When I multiply this negative 192 by the coefficient of x square 1, still I'm getting negative 192. Now I have to get two factors for this negative 192, so that the sum of the two factors over here must be equal to the coefficient of x, that is positive 4. I think positive 16 and negative 12 will work. In case if you find it difficult to solve this quadratic equation by factoring, so you can solve it by using quadratic formula. Okay, so when I multiply this positive 16 and negative 12, I am getting a negative 192, and also when I add them, positive 16 and negative 12, I am getting positive 4, which is a coefficient of x over here. Further, I have to divide both these factors by the coefficient of x square, that is 1. So even when I divide them by 1, I'm still getting a positive 16 and negative 12. Okay, here to get the first value of x in this quadratic equation, what I have to do is I have to change the sign of the first factor over here. It's already positive. When I change the sign, it will become negative 16. And now to get the second value of x, I have to change the sign of the second factor. It's already negative. If I change the sign, it will become positive. Okay, now I got two values for x. One is x equals to negative 16, another one is x equals to 12. But x represents one of the sides of a right triangle over here. So the length of the side of a triangle can never be a negative value. So we can reject this one. So we conclude that x equals to 12, that is 12 centimeter. Okay, so this side is 12 centimeter. And what about this side? So when I plug in x equals to 12, 12 positive 4 is 16 centimeter. Let me write over here. Okay, now I got the lengths of the two sides of the right triangle. They are 12 centimeter and 16 centimeter.